Good morning, everybody. Heather Clontmaker with At Home Realty here, trying something a little different today. I used to use this program, Be Live TV, last year, kind of got away from it, but wanted to use it again because some important information to bring to you about the real estate market based on our July 2019 market stats. So beginning of the month, we get the stats from last month and want to make sure that you know those. But what's not important about that are me just showing you a list of stats and putting them up there. What's important is me unpacking that information so you know what does it mean, how's it relevant to you and your real estate goals. Some of you may own just a personal residence and some of you may be investors, and so it may mean different things to different people as well. And of course, if you are looking to buy or sell a home, or you're thinking about, hey, sometime in the next year, then it's even more important to you, right? That gets your ears up and you want to hear it. So with all that said, I have my cup of coffee and I am ready to go. So let's just jump right in. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is inventory. Now, I know it's funny to think of houses as inventory. You think of, a store doing inventory at the end of the month or the end of the year of all the many items, but houses are inventory too. And so when we look at a balanced real estate market, so a real estate market where there are equal opportunities for both buyers and sellers, and there are enough homes on the market for buyers to look at, enough homes for sellers to maybe find a home before they sell their home, things like that, we're looking at 6 months. Let me, sorry about that, go ahead and pop up for this past month. So in July 2019, I'm going to show you those stats, and then we're going to look at those, how they compare to last year. So, and again, bear with me, new technology, so it always takes a little bit of time getting it up to par. Okay, here we go. So, absorption rate, again, fancy word for how many months of homes available, inventory on the market do we have. So, for July, just this past month, we had 3.2 months of inventory. So like I said, 6 is balanced. Over 6, you become a buyer's market. Under 6, you're a seller's market. So we are still a seller's market. Earlier this year, we had numbers in the upper 1s, low 2s. So you can see that that inventory is ticking up as the summer goes on. I'm going to let you in on why I think that is in a minute, but first I'm going to give you the numbers. So in July of last year, that should say 2018, sorry, it was 3.02. So again, we've ticked up, just a little bit. If I gave it to you in a percentage, it would sound like a big deal, but 3.02 versus 3.2, not a huge difference. Let me tell you why I think that is. So our days on market increase as the summer goes on a bit. Right now, we are in what I call a little bit of kind of this no man's land between the spring market and when school starts. So if you were to write an offer on a home today, August 2nd, you most likely, unless you have really speedy financing or paying cash, something like that, you're probably looking at just after Labor Day closing. So things do tend to slow down a little bit this time of year. Now, what that does not mean is that it's an indicator of a greater slowdown or anything like that. It's cyclical. This happens every year. August, all of our minds now, it's August. It's back to school. Class lists are coming out, all of that. So with that said, you might see a little bit of a slowdown right now, and the house is sitting a little longer. Now, what might happen is in a couple weeks, that house that's sitting may very well sell for the exact asking price they already have. It's just people are finishing up end of summer vacations, focus on back to school, things like that. So not concerning to me at all. But again, I think that's why our inventory has crept up a bit, as it always does this time of year. Same thing happened last year. Not a huge deal. With that though, let's look year to date, because I think that's an interesting thing to look at as well. So last year, this time, year to date, let's see here, there we go. We had 2.53 and now we're at 2.65 year to date. So again, our year to date amount of inventory is still less than what our July month indicates. And that was the same last year. So again, it's ticking up a little bit. Here's the thing. The inventory ticking up is what we need. For so long, you've heard me talk about this. I feel like I have been kind of beating a dead horse with this, but our market has had such low inventory for so long, Sellers have not wanted to sell because they didn't know where they were going, and buyers felt like maybe they didn't have enough choices, or you were seeing things go. I mean, I've had 11 offers on a property before, and it sold for $35,000 over not just the asking price. It wasn't that we priced it low, selling over, because of those multiple offers. So again, when we look at these numbers, we, in my opinion, need it to creep up a little bit with the inventory, so it's a little bit more balanced. And I think that, just being around the block for a while here, this year versus last year, my buyers are having a little bit more opportunities. They're having a little bit easier time getting their offers accepted. Does that mean it always happens on offer one? No, it doesn't. Ideally it would, but there's still those, it's still a tight market, but it's a little bit softening in that sense. For sellers, I have a couple of deals pending right now where the seller was able to sell their home, get it under contract, and find where they're buying, and kind of do that, ideal situation where you're selling your house, you're closing on the one you're buying, and moving right from one to the next. So there are more opportunities like that. So what that means is if you are a seller, you do not need to be afraid to put your home on the market. I would also say if you're a buyer, if you're a seller who's looking to buy, if you are looking to buy right now in August is a great time to put that offer on, to find that home, because again, they're sitting just a little bit longer, even if they're priced correctly. Now, if they're priced on the low side, they're going to go in 2 seconds, right? But if they are priced correctly, they still might sit a little bit longer. When I say a little bit longer, a week longer, a couple weeks longer. But you may be able to get a property a little bit easier than you might during more of the spring rush. And again, in the fall, we have another kind of second rush as people look to move before the snow flies. So anyways, that is some information about that. And I should note, I didn't say this in the beginning, what I pulled here are stats for the north side of Holland. So what I didn't want to do is give you the whole area that our market covers, because that's covering not only places like Holland, Zeeland that have these great fast-paced markets, but it's also going, down to more outlying areas where the numbers are going to be skewed. So this is kind of representative of Holland, Zeeland, those markets. But again, you can kind of extrapolate these figures out. And if you live in a different area, you live on the south side, things like that, I am happy to show you what those numbers are specifically. But again, the trends are kind of generally the same in our area. So I wanted to put that out there real quick. Now, median days on market. Why do I use median? Median is where they cluster. So average gets weighted by all the properties that sit longer, but median, that's where they're clustering. So right now, our median days on market for July was 6 days on market. So that's where kind of houses that are priced correctly, they're usually selling still within that first week. That is a little bit up. Earlier in the year, we were seeing, 2-3 days on market. 6 days, okay, so you're waiting a couple more days as a seller to get that offer, and as a buyer, you might actually get into the home before they accept an offer day one. So again, a little bit more balanced in that sense. Now, when we look at the average, what I don't want you guys to see there is that every house is going to sell in 6 days, because that's not the case, right? So houses that are, say, under 300, priced correctly, they should sell at that pretty good pace. When you get over 300, you might still see them selling that day one, day two. It's not uncommon to see them sit on the market for 30 days and still sell for the asking price. So the days on market, the higher up you get, tend to be longer anyways. And so that's why when we look at the average days on market, it's higher, because those houses that are sitting a little longer, whether it's because they're more overpriced, or because maybe they're a higher price and it's typical that they sit a little bit longer. When you look at that, you can see here our average days are 58, which is up from 41 in July of 2018. Now, one thing to note is the averages are up 24% from last year. So again, homes are sitting on the market a little bit longer. It's not alarming if your house, takes 2 weeks to sell instead of 2 days. Obviously, you want it to sell quickly and to be priced correctly. Some of that depends on where we are in the year, and some of that also depends on, are you priced correctly? So as a note to you sellers, if you are thinking of selling a home and you actually want it to sell, right? Like, you're motivated, you have somewhere to be, somewhere you're wanting to go. Maybe you have a need, maybe your house is too small, too big, whatever. price it correctly. The strategy of I'm going to list it up here because I can always come down later always fails. And what it does is it leaves you on the market longer, number one. Number two, it frustrates you. You're keeping your house in this constant state of readiness and all of that. So my just advice, or I guess I would implore you, price it correctly. I'm not saying price it low. I'm not saying lose money, but we have enough data in most cases to show, hey, this is a pretty good idea where this is going to sell. So again, I don't say that because I want your house to sell in 2 seconds because I want you shortchanged. I do it because I want it to happen in the most stress-free way that it can. And so to do that, homes that are marketed and priced correctly sell relatively quickly in this market. Again, higher prices. If you have $1 million home, that's probably in most instances going to take a bit longer, just because, I mean, who has $1 million, right? But all in all, just price it correctly, right? Like that's the goal. We'll show you comps. We'll talk about what that price is. And yeah, so anyways, as you can see, I know that we kind of got in the weeds here on these stats, probably a little more than I should have. Wasn't quite my goal. But I'm kind of a nerd at heart. So I don't know if you guys know that or not, but a little bit of a nerd. And so I love diving into these stats and kind of thinking about what do they mean and how does that help buyers and sellers in today's market. So again, we have a fast-paced market. What you need is a local expert on your side. And that is what I'm there to be, is to kind of guide you through the process to help you to achieve whatever your goals are. So right now, you know, there are definitely deals happening. There are homes being sold. There are homes being bought. Right now, I have had a very, very busy July. So even though these numbers show a little bit of a slowdown, this was actually my busiest month. So I don't know how that works, but that's the way it kind of happened. And so again, if you have any questions at all, I am here to help. You can reach out to me. Please either message me or you can always give me a call, 616-610-9948. Would love to chat with you about any of your real estate needs. And again, no question is too small. Even if you say, hey, I need to know the name of a good plumber, or hey, I'm thinking of selling next year, whatever, let's talk, let's chat. I want to be a resource for all things real estate related, and I will talk to you again soon.